So MMIT, as I mentioned, is a 2-year master program. It's a research-oriented master program at the University of Groningen, specifically at the Faculty of Medical Sciences. And our aim is to train the next generation of scientists. What do I mean with that? At MMIT, you will learn diseases and mechanisms of disease. You will also learn how to develop treatments to prevent those diseases or to treat the diseases. So you will acquire the skills to investigate, to become a researcher, to improve actually health treatments. For example, at a university hospital, but also outside of academia, outside of hospitals, and I will come back to that later. So what kind of topics should you think of? You can, for example, think of the regeneration of spinal cord tissue. So people that are wheelchair bound learn how to walk again. Or to unravel the mechanisms behind inflammatory bowel diseases, such as Crohn's disease. So we can have early diagnosis of the disease and also think of treatments to prevent the disease. And finally, for example, development of nanovaccines to trigger our immune cells to fight cancer cells. So these kind of topics are investigated at the University Medical Center Groningen, and you will hear about that during the program, the master program. So what is our approach? We follow a multidisciplinary approach. So first of all, our students already have very diverse backgrounds. We have students that did a bachelor in biology, medicine, pharmacy, chemical engineering, nanotechnology. So our students already learn a lot from each other. In addition to that, our teachers are from various disciplines: immunology, neuroscience, nanomedicine, systems medicine, and all these topics are covered within the MMIT program. MMIT is housed, as I mentioned already, at the University Medical Center Groningen, which is the second largest teaching hospital in the Netherlands. So we have cutting-edge facilities, state-of-the-art research facilities on genomics, proteomics, metabolomics, in vitro and in vivo imaging, but also stem cell technology, for example, to develop patient-specific disease models based on organoids and organ on a chip. And you may have already heard about those techniques. We very much believe in interactive learning. So we follow the learning by doing principle. There's a lot of interaction between our teachers and our students. And that's also why we have these small cohorts. We have maximally 35 students per cohort, and that is to safeguard that we have the time to have a lot of face-to-face interaction with our students. Because you learn the most also by experience, by shared experience. To see, for example, a researcher performing an experiment together with you, because you learn better than by lectures and following tutorials online, for example. So connected to that are what is indicated here with real world experiences. And that refers to the fact that within the program, we have 2 large research projects. So in year 1, you have a 6 months research project. And in year 2, you also have a 6 months research project. And that means that you will find a research team, and during this period, you will be integrated within this research team, performing research, but also being part of that community at that time. And that's most of the times international research teams, either at the UMCG or outside the UMCG. During the program, we make sure that there's a lot of individual guidance. So our students all have a mentor, And we also have a program, and that's the Fit for Practice course that runs during the 2 years master program. And with that, we focus not only on your professional growth, but also on your personal growth. So we will ask you to set your own personal learning goals, and we will make sure to check whether you meet those goals or maybe that you need to change those goals. So you decide on the topics that you want to investigate, for example, during your research project, but we make sure that you take into account the learning goals that you developed for yourself. Then within the MMIT program, we have researchers that teach you all the skills. So the teachers are research scientists, and they are all experts in their field. Then there's also the opportunity for, during your research projects, to do that at top-level researchers at the UMCG. And just to name a few examples, for example, Professor Mayukha, she is an expert in the field of human genetics, specifically in celiac disease. We have, for example, Professor van der Meer, who is a cardiologist, so a clinician who is developing innovative treatments for treatment of heart failure. Professor Iris Sommer, she is a neuropsychiatrist, and she is also very well known for writing books. So that's an additional skill. And also within the MMIT program, we have, for example, students that become science editors. So there's a very diverse backgrounds of our teachers and also very diverse options to specialize in during this program. And then finally, Professor Rob Koppes. He's an expert on radiotherapy. He investigates radiation damage in normal tissue. And he is currently involved in a clinical trial where they treat patients with stem cell-derived organoids that produce saliva, so to prevent dry mouth after radiotherapy of head and neck cancer. So very diverse topics, very diverse backgrounds of our researchers. So lots of choices for you to do your research internships. Then how do we do it? How do we make you the MMIT expert? Of course, there's a lot of focus on research skills. So we train you with skills training. There's no exams within the MMIT program because, as I already mentioned, we believe in learning by doing. So we won't ask you to reproduce knowledge, but we will ask you to apply the knowledge. We will, for example, teach you how to critically read papers and how to develop your own research proposal. But in addition to research skills, when you think about research, of course, also communication is very important, both oral communication and written communication. Collaboration is very important, especially nowadays, because research often occurs, I would say almost always, within multidisciplinary teams. So you need to be able to explain your discipline and to collaborate with people from other disciplines. And of course, when you do your research internship, you will be part of a research team and learn how to collaborate effectively. And finally, professional behavior is, of course, very important. You can think of providing feedback, but also receiving feedback, and to develop your leadership skills. Then at MMIT, you can really follow your own path. So not at the start of the program, you need to choose a specific track. No, there's different options to specialize, and those are mentioned here. You can choose whenever during the program if you want to specialize. It's not necessary. You can also choose different parts of different specializations and make your own specialization. But the specializations that we have in place are oncology, neuroscience, infection and immunity, metabolic disease, systems medicine, and drugs and devices. And of course, we will help you to make choices through our mentoring system and through the FFP, the Fit for Practice course. In addition to the specializations, we also have one track, which is the Innovative Medicine track. And within that track, you will acquire skills in another expertise, and that's the entrepreneur skills. So how do you bring an idea to the market? How do you interact with industry? So it's going more to applied research. And you will learn to write, for example, a business plan. There's specific additions to this program, like different summer schools, where you also meet people from industry to really practice, for example, to pitch your business plan, which is common practice in that area of research. Well, this is just to indicate, I already mentioned for the MMIT program, the skills are focused on research, communication, collaboration, and professional behavior. And within the IMIM track, there's another skill set that is focused on entrepreneurship. Then what we are really proud of is that our MMIT cohorts are always close-knit international cohorts. So the cohort that just started this year consists of 27 students, and they have 14 nationalities. So in addition to this multidisciplinary background, which is very important to learn to approach problems from diverse viewpoints, we also have a multinational cohort, which is important you will also learn a lot from that, from different cultural backgrounds. And as I already mentioned, we have very small cohorts to make sure that we can give all our students as much time as possible. Then with this, I would like to give the word to two of our students, Miriam and Niharika, and they will share with you their experience with the program.
Okay, I'll start. Hi everyone, so my name's Miriam, and I'm a current second year in the program, and so is Niharika. So yes, okay, I'm changing the slides. Okay, so my background is I did a bachelor's in biology here and also a track in philosophy of the life sciences at the RUG. And I was a very active student at the RUG also before starting this master's. So I was a student mentor and a program committee member, something that I've continued even now. So yeah, my choice for MMIT was mainly in the flexibility the track offered me. So when I finished my bachelor's, I was really freaking out because I felt like I had no idea what I wanted to do. There were so many, so many different fields that seemed interesting. I just sort of knew what I didn't like, but there was still so much that I liked. And that's kind of what led me to MMIT, because I found a lot of flexibility in the program itself to really figure out what I wanted and where I wanted to go. And I was lucky that there was some students who were already in the program whilst I was in my bachelor's that I could talk to about the application process and the program itself. And they supported me in doing that. And if you're thinking about applying, I know it can be really intimidating to see that it's a selective master's, but I really wouldn't shy away from it. If you're like a motivated student and you just organize yourself, well enough, you follow the criteria that are asked for the application, like you very much have a chance in doing so. I didn't think it was too difficult, to get everything together and get organized and prepare it. And yeah, I thought it was very doable in itself. Niharika, maybe you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Miriam. So, hello everyone, I'm Niharika, and I've done my bachelor's in biotechnology from Vellore Institute of Technology in Vellore, India. And Yeah, as Miriam said, when I also finished my bachelor's, it was like a lot of options for me, and then I could not really decide what I actually wanted to do. So when I was accepted by this program, I still remember having like an hour long call with Mayukha, discussing about where can I find Indian stuff and how is the life there, how is the housing there. Mayukha even went to the housing to like take a look if the first housing is like a legit housing or not. So I would say it's good. It's a very nice course, and I also like the fact that there is a lot of flexibility. And being in touch with Mayukha just made me realize, yeah, this is something I would like to do further. And for me, the application was quite easy because you make a Study Link account and then just go step by step. And yeah, the application is quite easy. Over to you, Miriam.
Yeah, and also the MMIT office, you can always email them if you need some help in understanding some step of the application process. So definitely don't be intimidated by that. Now I'm going to present the course structure of the program for you guys. So in the first year, you start with the theory and techniques courses, and these are basically two sort of larger courses that you do with the whole class with different themes each week. And this is a really nice way to get to know, especially if you haven't studied in this university before, what the research topics are in the UMCG, and also to get to know everyone from the cohort. And because we are like quite a small cohort, you get to know everyone very quickly. And we don't have exams. We have like formative or assignments, so things like presentations or speaking skills or written skills, rather than finals that you study for. And part of that is group work, so you get to sort of know everyone and you get to develop these skills quite quickly in those first two courses. Then you have the Fit for Practice course, which is basically a course that goes throughout the year that kind of supports you more personally. So it's not really like academic, it's more about figuring out your personal values and where you stand. So what you're looking for, sort of more, I don't know, philosophically is the wrong word, but basically what you want personally. And it's a really nice supportive course where you're with a small group and you can get a bit of guidance and relief of talking about these things with other people. Then you also get to do a literature study. So if you did do your bachelor's here at the RUG, you have to do like a 3-week thesis, which is basically the same thing for this literature study. So you get in contact with the supervisor, and then for 3 weeks you'll write a review on a topic of sort of your choosing in consultation with your supervisor. And then, of course, the main part is the first year research project. And for this, those first two courses in the first semester are really helpful because you'll really get to learn sort of everything that's going on here, and it will really help you find your interests. And even then, there's also speed dating sessions with professors that are organized, I think, on a weekly basis in the first semester, so that you can meet and talk to them directly about what projects they have available. And even then, if you still can't find it, we have like student mentors, so like myself and others, and just generally second year students who have all been really happy to help out with first years and finding supervisors or how to approach supervisors. And again, also the professors you meet in the first semester are always really happy to help and provide guidance overall. And alongside all of that, there's also career perspectives workshops that are offered again throughout the year that help you in making a CV, building a LinkedIn, like these kind of things that you maybe need to start thinking about when sort of, figuring out your career values and what you want from that. And then in the second year, which is where Niharika and I are right now, we again start with elective courses, and this is kind of a moment where, at least I experienced a lot of that flexibility. You can kind of pick courses in many different fields. So myself, I did protein and enzyme engineering and data science and biomedicine, because these are like aspects that I was really interested in, and these are part of different programs. And then you write a research project proposal, which is basically a PhD proposal that you'll write again, under the supervision of one of the researchers here. And that's also a really nice experience to kind of learn about, doing your own independent research design, and again, finding out what interests you, because you'll very quickly see what topics you want to write about. And then we get to the second research project, which a lot of us end up doing abroad, but you don't have to. But I think like 90% of our cohort is going at least outside of Groningen. and a lot of us outside of the Netherlands. And there's, again, a lot of support from students the year above in finding scholarships and approaching supervisors, also from professors. It's been really nice to have that support in how to approach people and networking. And we also have Fit for Practice alongside that. And also good to mention, part for Fit for Practice, you also get assigned a professor as a mentor. And I, again, had very positive experiences with that. I got a lot of, you can have one-on-one meetings with them and get some advice. And I got a lot of nice life and career advice from my mentor, which I'm very grateful for. So if I haven't missed anything, I'll just move on to my own experiences, because I was asked to present my research project. So I did my first research project in the oncology department of the MCG, working on engineering CAR T cells for the treatment of T cell leukemias. So I kind of knew pretty quickly what I thought I was interested in, so cancer and immunology. So when I got a lecture from the lecturer who was talking about CAR T cells, I basically contacted them immediately, but I also met with some other people and came to this decision. So yeah, I learned a lot overall. I mean, the oncology department is a really like big and fast paced and like department that's quite on, the cutting edge. And it's kind of a, interesting experience to being where you're really working with, CAR T cells for T cell leukemias don't exist yet. They're not FDA approved. So it's really the cutting edge, and I got a lot of independence to plan my own experiments. And I had a really nice network of other student interns in my lab, and we all shared an office. And it taught me a lot about what I liked and what I disliked and what I kind of wanted from my research project. So then for my second one, which I'll be leaving for in January, I kind of changed directions completely. But it was nice that I have that possibility, at least within this program, which I'm really grateful for. So instead, I'll be doing something completely different in microbial engineering, and also I get to go abroad. I'm going to Boston, which I'm very excited about. So I really appreciated that from the program, but also for students who I know who have a really set sort of idea of what they like. They can also very much focus their interest to, you can do 2 research projects on, immunology if you love it, and you can also take the immunology electives and write your immunology review. Like, you can really tailor it to what you want. And just for me, I wanted that flexibility. But if you have something really set in mind, you also have that possibility to do so. So yeah, now I'll leave it to Niharika.
Okay, so as Miriam said, like the research projects that we do during our courses really formulate the courses that we like, plus really asks us like what kind of field do we really want to pursue. So for my first research project, I had a chance to work with Peter van der Meer, and I worked at the experimental cardiology lab. And the models that we used there was a 3D cardiac tissue engineering model, as you can see on the left. And so we developed tissues from the iPSCs, so basically from the skin biopsies of cells of patients, and we made like beating cells on Petri dish, which was really cool. And this is me working at the cell culture hood. And there were times when the schedule used to be filled with a lot of cells and a lot of, like, if you are working at cell culture, it's like iPSC cells are your babies, so you have to be there day in day out. So it does give me a chance to work in the lab and experience how it is to be, let's say, a PhD student or to do research full time. And then on the right you can see me with the Eriba machines, which really was like we were setting up a protocol for an experiment, and things do not go as planned. So that taught me like even if we have something planned for future, we should always have a section where what if you fail, and then you have to keep trying again and again. So that is something that I also had to take back from my RP1. And the picture here is like the whole department. Since the department mostly also have cardiologists and people who do MD PhD, it was really nice to look at their projects and look at what they are doing, because we had the daily lunch meetings where everyone used to present their latest findings and their updates. So it was nice way to interact with them, because usually they spend a lot of time in the hospital since they are doctors, but again they're also researchers. So it was really nice to have their perspective, and they kept on asking us questions. And yeah, it was a really nice time that I had during my RP1. And as I'm also pursuing the general track, so I had the chance to go abroad, and I'll be going to Oxford for the next year, and it starts in January. So my project from January is completely different. It's on angiogenesis, and I wouldn't be using cell culture or any 3D tissue engineering. I'll be using zebrafish models to see how to redevelop heart arteries after a heart attack. Moving on. So the cohort is really, really nice. And for us, for our years, we had people from 23 different countries. So it was really important that we have a potluck, because everyone got, like, as on the right, if you see, like, there's a lot of food, the food picture. It's like everyone cooked one dish from their house, and it was a very good way to know each other. And we had talks about culture, we had talks about how the food tastes. We also had a carton of milk, because sometimes the jollof rice was really spicy that day. And we could also organize a trip to Berlin, and the two pictures in the middle are from Berlin. And it's funny because we organized it when we had one of the FFP presentations, and then we had to approach the MMIT office, and MMIT office was kind enough to let us go on the trip, only if we got a postcard from Berlin. So it was really nice. It was our first trip together. It was a really beautiful one. And in the scrubs, if you see, that is the zebrafish facility. And in one of the model organism weeks, you'll get an option to choose between two model organisms. So for me, I chose Drosophila and zebrafish. So we were given a tour of the whole facility that is there at the UMCG. And to be really honest, this is from where exactly my love for zebrafish model started developing. And now I'm going to do a research project on it. And we also had a Halloween night, and yeah, we also had a dinner. Like, this was a farewell dinner in Magoya, because everyone was living for Christmas and we wanted to have food together. So yeah, it's a really, really nice cohort, and I like the fact that everyone gives honest opinions about the assignments. And if I ask Miriam, hey, tell me, how does my document look like? Do you have any feedback? And everyone gives their feedback, and it's a really nice environment. Plus, we also discuss a lot of stuff when on and off studies as well. So I really like the cohort that we have this time. Yeah.
Maybe I can just quickly add, I'll put my email in the chat, and then if you guys have questions, you can very much reach out to me. It's no problem at all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Miriam and Niharika. I think that's the best way to show what MMIT is all about when you share the personal experience. That's better than just mentioning the theory. So thank you for that. And also thank you very much to share that it's a very social cohort, and that you have dinners together and go on holidays together, because that's typically what we see for all the cohorts. So very nice to hear about that too. So then just some theory again from my side about application and admission. Okay, I get some pop-up. Yeah, so I already mentioned that our students have very diverse backgrounds. So when you have a bachelor in medicine, biomedical engineering, pharmacy, biology, life science and technology, then you're admissible to the MMIT program. When you have a different background, then please contact us, contact the MMIT office, because we always check on a personal basis whether you have the right background to follow the MMIT program. And we also had students, for example, that did a pre-master before they started with the MMIT program. Then the application procedure. The deadline for the application is 1st of April. And as mentioned already, MMIT is a selective master program. So there's a selection committee. What you need to do when you apply is that you give your list of grades. But what is more important is that you write a motivation letter. So why do you want to join the MMIT program? Why is this program a good fit for you? What do you want to achieve by following the program? These kind of things. Then when you're selected for an interview, we will ask you to prepare a presentation about a small research project that you did, for example, during your bachelor. If you did not do a research, then we will come up with an alternative. So please always contact the office if something is not clear or you have specific questions for your situation. In addition, we will ask you to prepare an academic paper, and we will ask questions about that during the interview. And also here, most important is your motivation. When you're selected to follow the program, then the start of the academic year is in September. Typically, where do our students end up? 60 to 70% of our students continue with a PhD. And at the end of the MMIT program, there's also the opportunity to join a competition with a self-written PhD proposal. So you even have the chance to start a research as a PhD student on a self-written project. But we also have students becoming oncologists, laboratory analyst, immunology, policy advisor, strategic advisor, study advisor, scientific editors. So it's really broad, and it really depends on what you want. We provide you with a background, scientific background, so to become a critical, analytical thinker, but you can apply that within academia, within research, but also outside academia and outside research. These skills are important for any career. So, well, this is, I think, a bit of a repetition, because where do our students end up? It's within academia, but also outside academia, for examples in research centers, but also in industry, consultancy companies. We have students ending up in governmental policy institutes, in private knowledge institutes. So I think what is maybe a good way is also to check our LinkedIn and our alumni pages, because then you can also see where our students end up. And that's all over the world. Then the best thing is to ask an alumnus to share experience. So I would like to invite Mayukha to turn on the camera and the microphone. What is important, I think, is that, well, no, I will just give the word to Mayukha. Go ahead, Mayukha.
Hey, everyone, can you see me and can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. So, let me first start with just introducing myself. Yeah. So, who am I? So, my name is Mayukha. I am also from India, just like Niharika. And I came to Groningen to start the MMIT program. And right now, since the last couple of months, I've been a PhD student at the Netherlands Cancer Institute. So, firstly, why did I join MMIT? Well, just after my bachelor's, I knew that I wanted to continue in research, something to do with translational science and biomedical science. I wanted to make a real impact on patient lives and contribute to medicine. But I knew that I needed to learn a lot before I could even think of doing real research, because in your bachelor's, most of your knowledge is quite theoretical. So I need a lot of practical hands-on experience. And that's when I found, and that's why when I found MMIT, I knew that it would be a great fit for me. So our MMIT journey. Well, what I really want to highlight here was how MMIT shaped my skills. The most important thing, it's been mentioned over and over again, is that there were no exams and everything was a really creative assignment. And that is super, super important for a career in science, because once you finish your education, you will never be asked to write an exam again. It's going to be writing papers, writing grants, coming up with research questions, writing proposals, being able to think critically, and all those things. And those are all things that MMIT has trained me and the rest of my cohort for in the very first months of our program. So we were already ready to go with these skills when we went to our internships. This is an example. Maybe can I turn on a pointer? I guess. No, never mind. The picture at the bottom, genes are like genes. That was actually the title of one of my assignments in the second course. I think the first course of MIT. So we had to write an editorial on a paper that was handed to us, and we had to look at it, read it, think critically about what the paper is saying and how it fits into the wider scope of this field. That was really challenging, but also really fun because you get to critique the work of real world scientists. And that's what we did for a long time. For a lot of assignments, we had to really think on our feet. But and also really important thing is that most of our assignments were group based. They were not really individual except for a couple of them. So that way we could get to know all of our cohort, and every week we were changing our teams. So yeah, within a month we knew everybody. We had worked with most people. That's also really nice to find friends, because it, as an international in a new city, it may be a bit hard. But because with MMIT, for the first 3 months, you are together as a cohort every day, 5 days a week. It's really not hard to get to know everybody and make friends, and it's nice to not feel lonely that way. And another the picture on the other picture on the bottom is also one of my favorite assignments. We had to shoot a video on for a pharmacology assignment. So we came up with something really creative. We had a lot of fun with it, as you can see from the balloons and the background and the costumes and everything. So yeah, it's not just academic. It was also a lot of fun to do these things. So bottom line, everything is practical, and that's what has been great about our journey. Then a little bit more about my academic trajectory during MMIT. For my first internship, I worked in IRIBA in the Fourier lab, where I studied chromosomal instability in tumor development and cancer drug resistance. So for this, I used some single-cell DNA sequencing and single-cell RNA sequencing, and I learned how to analyze these data sets, and I built up my skills in bioinformatics. That was the first time I even tried out anything in computational biology. So I wanted to see how that would be like. So I combined some wet lab work with some computational work, where I split my time in them as 50-50, so I could get a taste of both. And then for my second internship, I went to the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm. There I worked on developing a new single cell method for 3D genome organization. So I combined DNA FISH, which is an imaging microscopy based method, with single cell Hi-C, which is again a sequencing based method. Yeah, and so if maybe a general theme that's already coming up is that I wanted to do something with big data, with multi-omics, single cell work. So I was able to do that in both of my internships and build up a nice experience in this field. But the best part of the MMIT journey, as I stress again, was probably the cohort, because we were together and we were so international. We were able to learn how to communicate with each other. We were able to build up professional skills. We learned how to work together, how to collaborate, how to communicate, because a lot of times maybe in an assignment you have an idea, but then maybe you don't know how to communicate it. So that's something that we could develop. Or maybe you learn how to give feedback, you learn how to be critical about other people's work constructively, not in a bad way. Yeah, so these are all things that really shaped me. And as I said earlier, I started MMIT because I wanted to do something in biomedical research that had a real impact on medicine and on society. So I got this opportunity during MMIT to do a lot of work on not just biomedical topics, but biomedical topics with a focus on disease. So, for instance, chromosomal instability in cancer, I was able to study cancer. I was able to study how genome organization affects the development of diseases. I did an essay on long read sequencing and its applications in clinical medicine. I was also, for my research project proposal, I also studied how celiac disease can be, how celiac disease can be studied better, how to build a better model system to recapitulate what happens in patients. And all of this now led me to do a PhD in cancer proteomics, which is also, again, very much translationally focused. I study the proteomes of cancer cells and antigen presentation and try to study how that can help outcomes for immunotherapy. And where is the rest of our cohort right now? Well, as Inge has already mentioned, most of us started a PhD in the UMCG, but also in other institutes. So I'm in Amsterdam at the Netherlands Cancer Institute. I think 4 or 5 of us are maybe 6 of us are at the UMCG. I think a couple of of my friends are in the US. They're currently doing research assistantships, and then they are looking for PhDs. One of us has also gotten a nice clinical PhD offer that she's going to start soon. A couple of us are doing something more industry, are doing something that's more in the industry. So one of us is a junior project manager at Macrogen, and another alumnus is also now in Zurich at Roche. So the opportunities are what you make of it and what you want. During MMIT, you get a lot of guidance on how to choose the right career track for you. You have all these different workshops. So you really are able to think about what is the right fit for you and how you can get there. You can also chat with the faculty, with the office, with alumni, second year students, etc., to really build on your idea of what you want to do and how you can get there and how you can build your CV and your applications for these different opportunities that are available and so on. And I think that's almost it. But before I wrap up, we've talked a lot today about how MIT is challenging and it's intense and it trains you a lot. But please don't be afraid of that. It sounds scary, but trust me, it's built up really slowly. So in the beginning, you're not going to be overwhelmed with all of this stuff from the very beginning. You slowly learn how to do these things. The assignments are at an incremental difficulty level. So you won't be asked to write a research proposal on day one. Don't worry about that. The faculty and the office are always there to help you. They are there to teach you how you can improve. They are there to personally guide you through all of this. There is lots of room to make mistakes as well. The first few months especially are the time to make mistakes. Do things wrong, do things differently, get feedback for it so you know for more real world things, so that you've tried out different things. And be prepared to be challenged, but make sure that you enjoy it and don't worry about it. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to contact me at my email. I can also drop this in the chat right now. That's it from me.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayukha, for sharing how MMIT helped you to find your career path. I think it's very nice example. Also, I want to add to that more than 95% of our students finish the program within 2 years. So indeed, it's an intensive program, it's a challenging program, but it's built up gradually and you're taken by the hand. So don't be scared of that. And also nice to mention is that 90% of our students finds a job within 6 months after graduation, what was already shared by Mayukha. So it's time for questions. I don't know whether there were already questions asked in the chat. If not, then please, if you have a question, raise your hand. And then I think Manu, you can mention the name, or Meike, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. My name is Meike van der Veen. I'm the program manager of the MMIT program. So together with Inge, we are your go-to persons for any questions relating to the program. I also want to mention that Floor is here, Floor Veldhuis. She has her camera open as well. She's our study advisor. So for all questions, more personal questions, doubts you have whatsoever, feel free to contact Floor. She is here, but you can also contact her directly. I put the next slide on. So here is also our WhatsApp number, and you can just contact us for any questions. I see one question already in the chat. Sarah, is there an overview of the elective courses of MMIT? On the website, I'm only able to find the mandatory courses. Yes, I think on Ocasas you can already find some courses that are related to the different specializations of the program, but I also think it's very good that you think of that yourself. We really want students to think of the courses that they want to participate in. So there are a lot of opportunities. So we don't have all elective courses available on our website, because you can choose, as long as it fits within the MMIT program, the learning outcomes of the MMIT program, you can choose an elective yourself, either within the University Medical Center of Groningen, within the University of Groningen, or other faculties, but also from other universities. So there are a lot of opportunities to follow elective courses that really fits with your personal interests. So I think that's really important to know. And what we also always mention, you are in the driver's seat of your own education. So as long as you feel that it fits within your master program, and either you find important information in a certain elective that really fits the project you want to do, or some skills that you think you will need in the future, or for one of the projects that you will be undertaking during the master program, always possible. Of course, you need approval from us, but that's something that we will arrange along the way. So I hope that answers your question. Is it possible to do this master right after the bachelor bewegingswetenschappen? That's a good question. Yes, I think so. Maybe Inge, you can also mention something.
Yeah, so for movement sciences, I think it also depends a bit on what you have studied during the movement sciences program. So I think in this case, it's wise to contact the MMIT office and sharing details on the program that you followed within movement sciences. But in principle, I would say yes, but please let us check it to be sure.
Yeah, it also depends on the courses indeed that you've undertaken during your bachelor's. We have welcomed students from movement sciences before, so it should be doable indeed. Must there be a previous molecular laboratory experience to be admitted to the program? What are the most successful applicants' profile look like? Well, I think we already mentioned during the presentations, there is no one profile from our students. They come from various backgrounds, various countries, bachelor programs. So there is not a really one answer for this. Maybe Miriam, you have something to add here?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say there's. I'm sorry, I can't make the chat bigger, so I'm trying to read the whole question, but there's not really one specific profile. Like in our cohort, we've had full-on medical doctors, pharmacists, people from biology, people from biotech, people from nanoscience. It's really about your motivation. And I also wouldn't be worried about if you feel like you're maybe missing some part of the background, because those first courses in the first semester also really help you like kind of get a feel and like get used to everything. So yeah, it's a very broad spread, and I think as long as you're motivated and you're there for the right reasons, like that's the main part.
Yes, so Miriam is right. Also, these first courses on mechanisms of disease and innovative treatment, and also the experimental techniques, they are really meant to have all the students, or to give all the students, the same background to start with. So don't be afraid, you will get the knowledge during the first courses.
Yeah.
Meike, maybe
See a previous question from Xantia. Does the MMIT do rolling admissions, as in review your application as soon as received and contact you on the outcome, or is it only processed after the April deadline? Indeed, the latter is the case. So we do, since we have a maximum capacity of 35 students, we look at all of the applications after the deadline of the 1st of April. So then you will hear from us after the deadline, more from us about the procedure to come. Of course, along the way, once you apply, we will keep informing you about what's ahead and how long everything will take. During the application process, we will guide you along the way. But indeed, after the April deadline, we will review all of the applications.
Meike, Claudia, and Unique have raised their hands for a few minutes.
Okay, you may open up your mic if you want to. Claudia, maybe you want to go first?
Yes, of course. Can you hear me all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, great. So I have multiple questions. First of all, thank you for the presentation. It was really informative. So that was really nice. But I was wondering if there are some spots reserved for students that studied a bachelor in Groningen. So there are limited spots for students that studied, well, somewhere else in the country.
No, so everybody has the same chance to get accepted to the program.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And another question, is it, can you apply for 2 masters in Groningen with a selective, or?
Yes, I think there's a maximum of 2. I'm not sure, but if you want to get more information, please contact us and then we can get back to you. But in my experience, there's a maximum of 2 selective programs, and in total a maximum of 4 or 5 programs that you can apply to.
Okay, then I can look
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And one last question. I saw something on the website for a language requirement. If for the master here, is it also applicable when you already studied an English bachelor, or because I read something about
bachelor at the university already? At the University of Groningen?
No, I did. I'm currently doing a bachelor in Nijmegen, but it's the biomedische wetenschappen, but it's English taught. So I didn't know if I would still need a TOEFL test or something.
Yeah, that's also something that we can look at. Do you have a VWO diploma?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay, so then already you are sufficiently enough equipped for so then you don't need an English requirements test anymore. So all Dutch students with a VWO diploma don't have to hand in that. So they automatically are approved by the university. Those are university rules, so we cannot make the regulations ourselves, but this is really something,
Okay, and just one last question. If I remember correctly, for this year there were only 27 students in the program.
Correct. Yeah.
Was there a reason for it? Because the maximum is 35. Were there just less applications this year, or?
Yeah, there were. The applications admitting, and also along the way, students change their mind, want to participate in another program. But indeed, usually, we aim for a maximum of 35, but we don't always reach that number. So it's not really restrictive, let's say, for you when applying to think about this number, because usually all of the students that want to start this program are able to.
Okay.
But we do have this restriction of 35 because we don't want to reach a bigger number. So when we do, then we will rank the students because we really value this personal contact with all of the teachers and the supervisors, and being able to provide you with a very high quality supervision and education. So therefore we have this maximum capacity.
Okay, well, that was all from my side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good questions. So there was one other student that raised the hand. Unique? You can open your mic if you want.
Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you for the presentation. It was really great. I got a lot of insights and notes. And I want to ask that University of Groningen have a good rank as a sustainable university. And sustainability is topics that I want to put in my research. So do you have any idea how can I have that kind of contact with sustainability while doing?
Yeah, so sustainability is definitely a topic at the University of Groningen, also at the University Medical Center Groningen. So for example, with regard to chemistry synthesis, people think about green synthesis, but it's really throughout the organization. So also people really take care of the environment, and there's more and more people paying attention. So for example, our catering, so in the canteens people shift to vegetarian food. So yeah, it's all over the place, not only in research but really throughout the whole organization. So sustainability will be not a problem at all to integrate that in your program while doing MMIT.
So it's also, I remember that we have, we can choose our own research. It means that it is possible that I choose like green chemistry or green analytics in the topics like that. Is that like any professors doing something like that?
Yeah, so when you would be interested in really doing chemistry, then I think there's also the option to do internships at the Faculty of Science and Engineering. So researchers at the UMCG collaborate with researchers at FSE. So I think there should be not a problem. I don't know whether Miriam or Mayukha or Niharika have some recalling of students doing internships at FSE.
So I know some students did do internships in collaboration with, so because you have to, oh, the lights have turned off in this room. You have to have a UMCG supervisor for your first research project. So there's some that collaborate, but that's more like structural biology. I don't know about the collaborations in like green chemistry, because this is still like health oriented or medically oriented. So I think then I would recommend looking at maybe the research groups that you think interest you and seeing if it's feasible within the master program, or if like a chemistry or chemical biology masters is more for you.
Okay, I think that's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. Rose has the question, what's the ratio self-study contact hours like on average? Maybe Niharika, you can respond to that?
Yeah, so the courses in the first year are mostly like we get our assignments on Monday and then we have deadlines on Friday. It's mostly enhances our skills to do presentations, scientific learning, and the way we interact with our cohort. So I would say like I cannot really give like a ratio here, but I would say it's evenly distributed throughout the 2 years of studies. So the pressure increases day by day, and I would like to suggest that the sooner you get the assignment, the sooner you start, the better it is. So your self-study and contact hours would be dependent on the decisions you make. And also the group work is also very, very important, because there are people who are at a different time level and different ways of doing things. So yeah, it's mostly the projects and the presentations that you really need to work on for the first year. And then the second year is mostly what you choose to do as electives. Like I chose 2 electives, metabolism diseases, and then I had another on transcriptomics. So my year looked different than what Miriam's year looked. So there is not a well-defined ratio, to be precise. So it always depends on the decisions you make.
Yeah, maybe I can add like the first courses in the first semester, you'll get like a lot of contact with the professors or teaching staff, and you always get the weekends off. You'll never have a deadline for a Monday, so you'll never have anything to study for the Monday, which is maybe nice if you want some balance. And then once you kind of move into independent research, it's more about your own management of your own research project.
Yeah, that's a really good addition. Thank you, Niharika and Miriam. Xantia says, if you start a specific track in MMIT, can you still change tracks once you start? I don't know if you mean tracks or specializations, because we have one track within MMIT, which is IMIM. And within IMIM, you follow some slightly different courses along the way. Within MMIT, there are 6 specializations involved, and you can choose to follow one of the specializations, but you can also stay specialization-less, specialization-free, and just pick certain topics in various courses and within your electives and not go for a specific specialization. And that's also something that we will help you with during the program, and we'll also inform you about when starting the program. So yes, this is something you can decide along the way. So I hope that answers your question, and if not, please either open your microphone or put it in the chat again. Bianca, how much does the grades transcript from the bachelor weigh in the application process? Maybe Inge, you can also respond to that, but I think it's more about your motivation and what you want to do, and your motivation to do research and start this master program, rather than the grades that you've done during your bachelor's, because we do believe you are students, you are allowed to learn. This is still a very nice learning process that you are going to undertake. And what you did during your bachelor's and the grades that you received is not so much important during the process. Maybe Inge, you can add on this?
Yeah, I just want to add a small thing. You're totally right, Meike. And we also know that some students really start working when their interest is sparked by a specific topic. So we have seen students coming in with grades like 6 and 7 in the Dutch system, and they get a cum laude after the MMIT program. And also the other way around, students that come in with 8 and 9 and during MMIT get average grades. So yeah, the grades, you need to send it, but motivation is most important. So your motivation letter, please take your time to work on that, because motivation is the most important thing. Because if you're motivated, then you will work and you will get the most out of the program.
Thank you, Inge. Melissa, questions, is this program not available anymore to apply with Erasmus Mundus? Indeed, we used to have the IMIM track as an Erasmus Mundus program. This year, this is not possible anymore. So indeed, there are no Erasmus Mundus scholarships, and also no scholarships available for students from EU countries. We do have the Holland Scholarship, which is not a full scholarship and only for first-year students. If you have more specific questions, please look at our website or contact Floor, our study advisor. But indeed, unfortunately, no Erasmus Mundus or other scholarship opportunities. There's also a question about the application fee. It's a constraint for applicants. Are there any special considerations for waivers? Indeed, this is also something that the university launched last year, I think. We are not able to waive the application fee. There are a few waivers that are handed out by the university, which is also mentioned on the website. So please look at the website for more information on that. Yes, but unfortunately, this is something a university brought that we are not able to change ourselves. Although we, of course, would like to, but it's not possible. Ivan says, I see the program is very competitive. Yeah, I can imagine that it looks like that, but I think it's really not. But maybe, and he also asked in a few words, can alumni tell us about tips for being considered? Mayukha, maybe you can, but maybe you can also, well, lessen the burden maybe a bit.
Well, I'm not sure whether you're asking about the application and selection, whether that's competitive or whether the program itself, like once you start, whether it's competitive within the cohort. About the application, yeah, I mean, it is competitive, of course, but I also don't think that that should be a deterrent for people to apply. It's really all about your motivation with application to join MMIT. It doesn't. I mean, I'm not going to say that grades or the presentations don't matter. They do, but a good and strong motivation can maybe weigh more than your transcript or these presentations. So it really depends upon you, and it really depends on on how strong the application is. But you never know how good of your chances are to get in. So I would say just try anyway. About tips for being considered, yeah, once again, I cannot stress the motivation letter more. And for the presentations, there is a research project presentation, which is 10 minutes on something that you've done, I think, during your bachelor's or before this, and then a 10-minute presentation based on 4 different papers that the office will send you, and you should pick one out of those 4, and then you have to make a presentation on this paper about your opinion of it and so on. Be careful with those presentations, I would say. When you're reading the paper, especially, just read it really well, line to line, make sure you understand everything. Look up things that you don't understand, spend time on it. I think you would have at least a week to prepare. So I would say spend as much time as you can on it. Don't bother too much with the technical details of the paper. It's more that you understand the overview and that you have your own opinion and your own constructive critique of this paper. So maybe pick points that you like, pick points that you don't like, pick points that you think that that the authors should have worked on a little bit more. Just something that intrigues you about this paper. I think that would already make your chances of being selected a lot higher. That's it from me. Maybe Niharika or Miriam can add more.
Maybe I can say for my case, I know certain people from my cohort who maybe had a lower GPA, but people have reasons for that. You know, they have life circumstances. It doesn't mean they're a bad student. And people also do extracurriculars that complement their CV and just like their interdisciplinary aspects. So I think it's more about you being motivated and showing that the MMIT program does align with what you want, and then that's, you know, the people who review your application interview you will recognize that, because I think the only reason you'd get rejected is not because you're a bad student, but more because you're not the right fit, because that's also maybe not what you want. So I wouldn't worry too much about being in a certain profile, but more deciding on if this program really aligns with what you want, and then your motivation for that. And that's a very solid reason. At least for me, that's what I did.
And adding to what Miriam said, like we are from the pandemic year, so like 2 years of my bachelor's was in pandemic, and I could get one chance to work at a lab in India, and it wasn't a very fancy project or anything. And like I had second thoughts of whether I should include my project from my first year or whether I should include this during my application process. So I would really stress on writing a really nice motivation letter and then focusing on the presentations that will be there, like the journal flow presentation and the research presentation. So yeah.
Yeah, because don't forget, you are here to learn. So you don't need to know everything from the start. We don't expect that. So I think it has been mentioned now a few times. Motivation is what we're looking for. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So be curious, be creative, ask questions, be honest.
And this results also, we see that, and it is shown when the students start, because in your cohort you will see there are all motivated students that are willing to work in group work. That's nice to see in discussions during classes. So that's also a really nice result. And I think Inge also mentioned that is all of the students that start the program in September. Most of them, and more than 95% of all of the students, will also finish the program within 2 years. And the students that didn't have personal circumstances involved. So I think that's also a really nice result of our application procedure, and that you go through the program with all motivated students in the upcoming 2 years. Xantia, you mentioned, I meant the innovative treatment track specifically. So your question was, I just read it before, could you change track? So I think this is also something that you will discuss with the admissions board as well during your application procedure, because indeed sometimes students really don't know yet which track they want to choose, which specializations they want to follow, and that's perfectly fine. So we will help you along the way, and during the application procedure, this is also something that you can still discuss with the board, with the admissions board, and once you get in the program in September, you indeed can still change the track if you feel that you've chosen the wrong one. So yes, that's really possible. And then Unique ask, is the presentation, will it be uploaded? Can we rewatch it? I guess so, right, Manu?
Yeah, indeed. I've already replied in the chat and give the link. And just to add, we will also send the link to the recording to everyone that took part in this meeting. So yes, you will be able to rewatch it.
Perfect. Thank you. Karen asks about the research that we have to present during the interview. Can it be a thesis that we wrote at the end of the bachelor? Yes, definitely. It can be also something else, the research that you've done during your bachelor were involved in as a side next to your bachelor. So it can be anything that you feel that would be representative and you know a little bit of, and that also reflects your motivation why you want to do research as part of your master program. Inge, if you want, do you want to add anything? Oh, Niharika, yes?
Oh, I just noticed that I think we missed a question by Elia. It says, do you have research projects related to pediatric solid tumors?
Okay, good. So let me just finish the question of Karen. I hope I answered this question now well enough for you, Karen, or Inge. Do you have anything to add on that?
I have nothing to add because I was indeed like Niharika scrolling through the room chat if we missed any questions.
So Karen, if you have any follow-up questions, then please let me know. Okay, good. You're welcome. And then Elia.
You also missed an early question about how many applicants we have each year.
Yes, the number of applicants. So that really changes each year, and that also doesn't reflect the number of students that we enroll and that start the program. So that really, that differs per year between, well, let's say 75, 80 to 200. So that really depends every year. But we have, in the previous years, we also had a lot of non-EU students applying to the program that were not able to participate in the program, unfortunately, because of fundings for scholarships. And this year we don't have any scholarships. So I think that will also reflect the number of applicants that we will have. But I don't think that this is a number that you should think about when applying. But because what we said before, in this year also we have 27 students in the cohort and we have a maximum capacity of 35. So the saying that we do have a maximum capacity doesn't mean that we will reach it every year. So when you would like to start this program, are motivated to start this program and go through the admission procedure, then your chances of starting in September are very high, I would say. And then Elia, do you have research projects related to pediatric solid tumors? Inge, maybe you can respond on this?
Yeah, that's a really specific question. I would have to look for that, whether at the UMCG we have research on this type of tumors.
Yeah.
I know that in the Netherlands, research is being performed on this kind of tumors. So that would also create the opportunity to do, for example, do your research internship at not at the UMCG, but outside of the UMCG, which is a possibility for your second internship.
Maybe I can also say, because I was in the oncology department, I don't know 100%, but you can look on the UMCG research website. I know they do. So I was in the group that did hematological cancers like T-cell, B-cell leukemias, acute myeloid leukemia. There's also a group that does solid gynecological cancers, glioblastomas, ovarian cancer, and nerve cell infiltration in ovarian cancers. And I'm probably missing one or two, but those are the topics I know of. I haven't really heard of pediatric solid tumors at my time there, but I can put the link for the UMCG research portal where you can look at all the groups in this chat, and then you can also have a look for yourself and see what the different groups are doing.
Yeah, that's a good addition. Thank you, Miriam. Okay, are there any more questions popping up? And if not, there is one. Can you provide information about on how this master program integrates entrepreneurial elements, such as workshops or practical experience, to equip students with the skills and knowledge needed for startup ventures or entrepreneurial endeavors? Maybe Inge, you can mention something on the IMIM track?
Yeah, so that's really specific indeed for the IMIM track. We have a specific coordinator for the IMIM track, which is Machteld Hielkema. So you can also contact her for more specific information on the specific courses. But during IMIM, there's at several moments interaction with entrepreneurs and also with industry. So yeah, definitely you will be prepared and you will get the skills and knowledge needed for startup ventures. So one of the things that they organize, or maybe Ariel, if Ariel is still here, is the Venture Lab weekend.
Yeah. Sorry?
Can you tell something about the Venture Lab weekend?
Yeah, a bit. The Venture Lab weekend is in November, and that's I think the final part of the BBB3 course. If you are going to do the IMIM track, then you will follow the BBB line. Those are more specific entrepreneur courses, and the Venture Lab is then the final part of that BBB3 course. And during the Venture Lab, you will present you do a pitch for a jury. You will present your business plan or your business idea with your group, and that will be assessed by a jury. So, and it's in November. But if you would like to have more information, I can send a link to the website, or I can email some more information, because on the website it's not all of there.
Yeah, and I think on the OCASA's webpage, when you go to the IMIM page of the university, we also will link. There's also a link to all of the courses involved in the program. And if you look at the BBB courses, and then for especially BBB3, which starts with the summer school, and then thereafter the Venture Lab weekend indeed, and also the writing and pitching of your business ideas. And then more information on that is also on our OCASA's website. But if you indeed have more questions about that, then please feel free to contact us, contact our study advisor. We can put you into contact as well with one of the students in the IMIM track, if you would like to. Here on our slide also the link to the meet and greet. Then we can also say that that an IMIM student can be involved in the meet and greet if you have more specific questions. So that you can also share experiences and ask questions to the students that are now participating in the IMIM track.
I would also like to add on to it, because I was the MMIT student who actually participated in the summer school and also the Venture Lab weekend. So I would say, like, even with MMIT, I had the opportunity to do it. And it is a really, really nice experience, because then you are in touch with a lot of mentors and a lot of people from the field who already have their own startups. And Venture Lab Week in the 52 hours is quite intense, but at the end of the night, I was really happy, like we could deliver a nice pitch, and that just builds confidence, and then you get to know how things work. Yeah, so it is possible to gain skills for ventures and startups.
Thank you, Niharika, for this addition. Very good. Sarah asks, can the first internship also be at another research group at the University of Groningen? That's something that we will have to discuss, which group that will be and what you would like to do, because what we really value is high quality supervision from our students, and that's why we have the standard regulation that it should be at the UMCG, because then we know all of the supervisors very well and they know the MMIT program very well, and that we can really guarantee high quality supervision. We of course have a lot of overlap and good communication with the FSE and within the pharmacy department. So most of the times that's also possible. And if it's something else, then yeah, we will really have to check whether or not that is possible. And it really depends on what you want to do with whom. And as I said, for us, the quality of the supervision and what you will do and undertake during your project is more important to us than anything else. Inge, I don't know if you want to add something on that.
No, so indeed we had students doing their internships at the FSE, for example. So that is being decided on a case-by-case basis. But also already indicated, there's a lot of UMCG researchers that collaborate with FSE. So then there's no problem.
Indeed. Yeah, thank you. A question. At your interview, can you present a lab project that is not completely finished? Yes, definitely. Yes. You don't have to have results or whatsoever. Just mention what you did, what you are doing. And you say my thesis project does not finish until May. And that's really something that a lot of students face indeed when applying to this program, because your bachelor program runs till June, July. So that's really not a problem at all. And a lot of students face this. So no worries that it will affect your application process.
Yeah, so and also don't try to present your whole project, really stick to the time that you get. And also don't be afraid that if your project had like a negative outcome or something unexpected, that's also not a problem. So it's all about you presenting and thinking critically about the data, doing the data analysis in a proper way. So don't be afraid for that. Stick to the time, and yeah, it doesn't need to be a complete successful project.
No, indeed. And that's part of doing research, right? That's you have an outcome that you did not expect. So that's also reflective and shows your experience in doing research.
Yes, indeed. That's common practice.
Okay. A lot of questions, a lot of valid questions. So we're really good. Thank you all for that. Looking at the chat, there are no more questions popping up. Indeed, thank you, Manu, for sharing again the session with the students on the 6th of December. Sign up for that if you want to have more information, more in-depth information, chat with our students, share experiences. Contact Flora, our study advisor, for more information, more personal related information or advice. Please forward that to Flora. I think wrapping up for now. So thank you everybody for joining. It was really nice to have you. Really nice to have heard your questions. As Manu also mentioned, we have recorded this session, so we will send you the link so that you can look back. And feel free to contact us for any further questions that you may have. But for now, thank you very much. I hope you had a nice overview of our program. And yeah, maybe see you in December or looking at your application later on, and we will have contact about that. So looking forward to hearing more from you. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day, and enjoy the rest and your weekend coming up. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.